in Forest Hills when you guys moving around so many times. You're meeting these people, and Joey's getting picked on by these people, and you're becoming friends with these people, and you're forming bands with these other people. That style, I don't know the way you put it out, and I'm not doing this, to kiss your ass or anything, but it's true. It's just easy for the reader with so many names thrown out there to read up on it.
Well, it took a lot of work.
Yeah, that's a lot of memories right there. You guys knew a lot
of memories. Just condensing all this stuff and making it readable and understandable and not confusing the shit out of people. It really, that's what took a lot of the effort.
Okay.
So there came a point where Simon & Schuster said, "This is not working out with this combination of you and Legs is too much headbutting here, and we want you to keep writing. We like your writing, and we don't want it to become an oral history and just a bunch of a series of quotes tied together."
Right.
That's not what they wanted. So they had me work with a freelance editor to finish the book, and I worked with this woman, Pat Mulcahy, for the last year and a half of completing the book.
Alrighty. So now, just to shift from the book for a bit, so now that's how the book's coming about.
Don't get me wrong, Legs was helpful, in some ways, in some capacity. I did learn some things from him, but on the other hand, it was a bit of a struggle because, there was a style conflict, I guess.
All right. So the book's out. It's getting a pretty overwhelming response. You've got quotes from Bono and Steven Van Zandt on there, where we supported the band, and Joey, of course. But now the Ramones were a fraternity or a happy family, if you will,
right,
of musicians, and you being Joey's actual blood brother. Did you ever feel abandoned by him, that he was in this new family with these other guys living this pseudonym and other life while you were behind the scenes as his brother?
Did I feel abandoned?
No, and maybe abandoned's too strong of a word, but you ever almost left out? Because you were both coming out of being musicians.
No,
in
I
Queens.
didn't feel left out because I was actually I had started playing in bands at least a year or two before he did. I started playing when I was 10 years old, and I was in a band with Johnny and Tommy when I was 14. I introduced him to those guys. But and when they first started getting their shit together, I actually helped them by being their roadie and figuring out ways to make their show nonstop. So I was always supportive of them and supportive of my brother, and always rooting him on to go to the top of the heap. So I didn't really feel abandoned or left out. And then in 1977 I started my own band with Lester Banks.
Right.
And was concentrating on that more than worrying about what my brother was doing.
Understandable. So now, as Joey, as the movement began in '77, and probably, of course, even earlier than that, for his whole.
I did kind of explain that in the book. Somewhat,
right.
My goals were the same as his, and it was that we both wanted to have this kind of successful bands like the Who did, and the Ramones weren't really as successful as those kind of bands. So, I had my eye on a prize, and it was not where the Ramones were really.
All right.
If you know what I mean.
No, I know exactly what you mean, because I'm also trying to address the people that haven't read the book yet. And
right.
Not that I want to give away all the secrets so they don't read it. I also want to encourage them to pick it up. It's a fine book. So
thank you.
No problem. So as Joey grew up, obviously, with a lot of insecurities, loneliness. People picked on him the way he looked. The OCD seemed to be another issue. But you would always encourage them, and as you were mentioning before, and push them to get to the top of the heap, as you put it. What was it like aiding him along to become the person that he was?
You mean before he was Joey?
Before he was Joey Ramone, and when he was Joey Ramone?
Well, it was not an easy job, and sometimes knew he appreciated it very much, and sometimes I think he kind of took it for granted, the help he got from me and my mom, and it was, I felt I had a lot of sympathy for him, and I was also very proud of him for digging so deep and fighting off these demons that he had, and these voices he heard in his head, and these I don't want to say inadequacies, but the adversity he was facing regarding his physical ailments and this extreme OCD that he was always burdened with. So I was always just supportive of him and tried to protect him as much as I could when we were in high school and stuff, when he would get picked on, but I was 3 years younger. It was kind of an odd role reversal there, because normally your big brother's supposed to be protecting you.
Yeah.
And then as the Ramones started to take off, it was a similar thing. He would sometimes, his OCD would get so bad, he would ask me to drive him back to the airport just so that he could repeat a movement or something like that, and I would try and help him out and be understanding and as sympathetic and helpful as I could be.
How did the rest of the band react to this? Did they ever try to aid him, or did they just brush it off and just kind of move on their own way and say, we just got to keep plugging along?
Well, I think, if anything, they found it to be an annoyance and sort of a hindrance, but it was something that they knew they had to deal with, and it was really the road manager's job, which was me in the very beginning, and then Monty Melnick later, to get my brother out of the house, because he had a hard time getting out, because he would always need to repeat something, or he forgot something that he thought he needed to do, and that's part of the what comes along with OCD. You can't get out. You got to keep repeating it. Turn the water off again. Little things like that. So it was always hard to get him out of the house, and he was always needed somebody to come there like 20 minutes early before he was really needed to be downstairs. And so there were all those kind of things that made it, I guess, a little unpleasant for his bandmates there. But it was something that was understood. They knew they had to deal with.